Hello, and welcome to Swarm's Solstice event. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Antonio, and on behalf of the team, let me tell you that we have very exciting news to share with you today. This event is called On Words, and for those who are looking for a reference, it's not about a Pixar movie. It better be about the last word of the Cypherpunk Manifesto, and we don't use that word lightly. Let's see if during the event you understand why. By the way, this event is live. This is happening right now. Don't press play. It's rock and roll. So it's 1 year from Swarm's mainnet launch. And what a year in so many fronts. If we look outside the window, the world is it's getting deeper into very complex situations. And of course, this impacts the whole industry. In crypto, skeptics and critics are popping up like mushrooms. And I might say that they are not completely without reason. And I'm not pointing fingers, even if I want to. But what can we do from crypto to shed some light? Well, we can do the same thing that Tron Foundation has been doing this whole past year. Build. Again and again and again. We're builders. Despite everything, the motivation and enthusiasm of the team has remained intact, still hungry. The world computer, the vision for a more hopeful digital tomorrow, is getting closer and closer every day. All right with all this. But where are we? Let me put it bluntly. The moment for a broader adoption of Swarm's network is at hand. First, you need to understand that the problems are really hard to crack, harder than we initially thought, or you can imagine initially thought. Here, we have a video of our research team racking their brains over their storage incentive system. Mhm. All right. All right, these were not the guys. This event. Is the storage incentives problem solved? Hmm. Well, let's say that we feel really great about it. 2 weeks ago, we hosted an AMA talk with Daniel Nagy, one of Swarm Foundation's founders, in Discord to talk about it and to answer any questions you might have. We'll have more of these AMA talks, so stay tuned. And second, we have prepared the network and created tools for everyone to access it. So the last 6 months, the B team at Tron Foundation was focused on improving the performance of the storage nodes, as well as increasing the security and performance of the whole network in general. Why? Because we want a healthy network. We need a healthy network. And for everyone to use it, we are releasing today a desktop app in beta with a beautiful interface so that you can access the network without a terminal window, and I can't be happier. I personally see this product as the phone booths in Matrix, a way to jump into the network easily for everyone. And to speak about this, we have the father of the creature with us, the smoother voiced west of the Danube, Attila. Hello, Attila.
Hello, how are you?
All good, thank you. Floor is yours.
I'm good, thank you. So today I'm going to talk about what the Swarm Foundation did related to the milestones and the progress, and also I will give a quick demo of the Swarm desktop beta app. So let's start. I prepared the presentation. Can we see it, please? Yes, that's it. Thank you. So what is the Swarm desktop beta that we talk about? So next slide, please. We we were working on this second milestone, and the second milestone is all about setting up and interacting with the B node is optimized for ease of use. So we realized when working with Swarm that maybe one big problem of the adoption of the app can be that it was very difficult to set up a running B node for your computer, and we realized that most of our team members are not able to set up by themselves. So we try to figure out a way to fix this. And the second milestone is all about fixing this. So we did a lot of work. We improved the documentation. We introduced chain defaults, and we also created a Swarm desktop app that you can download on your computer and run it. And we also improved the gateway situation and many things that I will talk about. Please go to the next slide. So currently we have like more or less these four types of nodes that you can use for running V. And basically the first version, the first column, the gateway, is what we consider free trial. So you don't have to actually install anything, you don't have to run anything, you just go to a website and then you can do download files and upload files to a limited manner. So like it's limited to size, it's limited to rate limit. So it's a limited experience, but you can try out what Swarm is about. And then also you can start sharing small files with your peers, with your friends, with your colleagues. But then we also realized that there is a need for um, certain kind of other nodes. So for example, we already had the full nodes, and then a full node is decentralized, it has PSS, it has unlimited download and upload, it has post-system management, and it's also able to earn BZZ. So why doesn't everyone runs this? So we realized that like this running a full node is not a very easy task, and also it is very heavy on resources. So if you go to the next slide, please, then basically what we realized here is that our product looks like this. So basically if you want to like show a similar image that like Web2 services has like different kind of product categories, then basically the free trial that we have is the gateway, and then we have the Swarm desktop product, which is meant for consumers and creators, and the pro product is the full node, and that is meant for node operators. And so I will talk a bit about like what we consider consumers and creators. But so basically, we created two new categories of a V node that you can run with Swarm, and we call them ultralight and light nodes. And the ultralight is quite limited as well. So it's a decentralized, it's a peer-to-peer client that runs on your computer and connects to the peer-to-peer network. It is able to receive PSS messages, and it is able to download with a limited speed, but it does not. It is not able to upload files or manage post systems or earn BZZ. And there is a way to upgrade your ultralight node to a light node, and therefore it enables you to unlock the full download speed, be able to upload files and manage your own postage stamps. And we think that this is a version that most people like who I just want to engage with the network, so like want to connect to the network, wants to upload and download files, would be able to use. So let's go to the next slide, please. So yeah, the design considerations were the following. We wanted to have a lightweight client. So it only uses resources if you request them. So we realized that running a full node uses your network, and that makes your phone calls choppy or your video very laggy, makes your CPU and your laptop hot, uses a lot of memory, uses a lot of disk space. So it's not an ideal thing for running on your laptop computer or your desktop computer. Also, we realized that in order to achieve the full potential of a full node, then you have to run it 24/7 because once the storage incentives be implemented, then one of the assumptions that the full node has is that it runs all the time so that it can participate in the storage lottery. And this is obviously not something that your laptop can do because sometimes you close your laptop and also it has limited battery and so on. And the third thing that we aimed for to be able to start without a penny. So this is why we created this ultralight mode. So this ultralight mode does not require you to do crypto onboarding. you can just download it from the internet, install it as a regular app, and it will start running and it will start connect to your network without even setting up a wallet or without having to do any kind of transactions on the blockchain. So let's move on to the next slide, please. So there is a problem that Swarm tries to solve differently. And this is why we think it's a good value proposition for creators. So there is a problem that for creators that storage is cheap, but scaling is expensive. And what I mean by that is that most of the time, like I created an example here. So for example, recently I worked with a Wikipedia data file, which was 42 gigabytes. And then storing these 42 gigabytes on Amazon S3 is just less than $1 per month. So it's not that expensive, and anyone can afford this. The problem, though, is that the free tier on AWS is only covers 100 gigabyte traffic. So it means that like after 2 or 3 people downloads the full data set from you, then it suddenly becomes very expensive. Actually, that like if after the third person downloaded this file from you, then every copy that someone downloads from you costs you almost $4. So if like 10,000 people downloads this file from you in a month, then you will have to pay $40,000 per month, and that is like a prohibitive cost. Like many products or many websites or many projects are not into like full-time, like in order to make this kind of money, you have to basically set up your full-time operations about this, and you have to start your own business, and then you have to start like thinking about how to monetize. Then comes the the advertisement and all these things that we are trying to avoid here. So what we came up with in Swarm in principle is a bit different. So can we move on to the next slide, please? So the platform behaves in a way that like if we assume like three actors in this ecosystem, that there are consumers, that there are data creators, and there are node operators. So in Swarm, like both the consumers pay for data access and both the data creators store for storage of the data. And what the consumers pay for data access is what we call the bandwidth incentive. So basically you pay for the traffic. If you request some data, then there is a way to get free data. So there is a certain threshold where the nodes, the full nodes, let you download data from them to a limited degree. But after, if you want to full speed, then you have to pay for it. So, and then data creators also have to store, also have to pay for the data storage. So, and they pay with postage stamps, and this is how node operators can earn money in the system. And like the system is set up in a way that like, or how we imagine is that data creators create some kind of useful data that is useful for the consumers, and therefore they, once they uploaded it, they get back a reference, and that is not necessarily part of Swarm, or not currently, like how they share these references with their customers. If you move on to the next slide, please, then we can see that this can be actually the part where like businesses or app opportunities can rise, because like there is a value on creating and curating data and presenting it to users in a way that like they find useful. So like we talk about like curated sites or search engines and like all kinds of way that provides useful information to customers, and that is not necessarily the lower part or the built into Swarm, but these can be things that can be built on top of Swarm in the application layer. And if we move on to the next slide, so here I downloaded this graphic from the internet, and this actually represents many kinds of applications which have their own tokens, such as Swarm have. And then basically this is a, well, the network flywheel, and this is this shows you how how there are different um, actors in this system, in this economy, and how they create this sustainable economy. And if we go to the next slide, please, then we can see that like I just changed investors to token holders and miners to node operators. And then what we see is that it's very similar to how Swarm works. So that basically node operators provide production capital, in this sense, storage space and storage service to the platform. It gives functionality to the platform. Then there can be third-party developers who can create useful applications on top of it that brings in users, and users create communities, therefore they contribute to the network. And all these actors can be also token holders at the same time. So both the end users, the third-party developers, node operators are free to buy BZZ tokens and become token holders and therefore contribute to the network value. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So this is what we worked on, and I will show soon a short demonstration of how this desktop app looks like. But before that, I would like to also mention what is coming up for Swarm. So now we are concluding this second milestone. We are tidying up. Like currently, we have this beta version. It has some rough edges at the moment. We invite you to be a bit forgiving with us and also to report your feedback to us, and we will try to fix them as soon as possible. But we wanted also to open this up so that you can try out and use this from today. And so we are also working on tidying up the documentation and putting them in nice format so that you can find out how to run your own bnode, even if it's not the desktop app. So that also the full nodes get more documentation, the gateways got more documentation, and the whole thing just got more streamlined altogether. And up next is the third milestone. So we are solving, we already started working on this, and we figured out the theoretical part of how to do the basically this storage incentive system that will reward the node operators for contributing their storage space. And so the work has started on this. We started working on the smart contracts that will do the lottery, that will distribute the postage stamp value between the node operators. And also by this, we will hope to achieve in it. So yes, let's move on to the next slide. And I think that's already the demo for the video. So we recorded a video because we didn't want to have like network glitches and stuff that we used to have in the past. So, and I also cut the video a bit short because we have one part which is, yeah, it may take up to 10 minutes depending on the network conditions. And I didn't want to bore you to that to just looking at the spinner. But let's start the video, please. Yeah, so this is how the Swarm desktop works. Like it's beta currently. For example, on Mac, we don't have the certificate, so it's a bit pain in the ass. But like as soon as we get from Apple, then we will be able to have a proper version that can be used for everyone. So right now we will create a blog, explain like how to download it, how to start it. It should be straightforward, but there are some rough edges, as I mentioned. So it once you start it, it runs in the browser. I mean, it's an Electron app, but we decided to make the UI run in the browser so that maybe in the future we can integrate it better with like other web apps or MetaMask or something that you already have in the browser. And so it basically does some initial transactions. So there is an initial transaction actually that this node needs to do, and we created a faucet for this, but this is only for like being able to verify your address so that your address cannot be just mined and spoofed for anyone else's. And then it downloads necessary assets and the binaries, and then it starts the B in an ultralight mode. And this ultralight mode, as I mentioned, is a limited mode, so it cannot upload files, it can only download files, but for that you don't need to set up a crypto wallet. And that takes about a minute, like this whole process once you start it, and then you get into this UI, which shows you the like a map, and the nodes that are connected to. Then, if you want to upgrade your node, you have to provide an RPC endpoint, and also you can top up your node with some crypto money. And for that, we provided 3 ways. So we provided a way to do it from existing crypto. Then there is another way so that you can do it from a credit card. And also we created a gift wallet option so that you can have basically an invite code, you can paste it in, and you can have some small amount of money, but that gets you started, and then you can upgrade your node. And then this process, what you see now is that basically you are copying or transferring the money from the gift wallet to your node wallet address. And once that happens, then it restarts your node. And this is the part where we cut. So we will have a short pause, and then another video will come. So yes, it already happened. So now you are upgraded your node. You have like a wallet with some money in it. You have the checkbook. So the checkbook is meant for covering the cost for the bandwidth incentives. And then you can use your balance of your wallet to also put money in the checkbook. And so with this, you can upload and download. I didn't do a demonstration for this, but I suggest you to try this out. And then you can also install it on your computer and therefore unlock access to the Swarm network. So that was my demonstration. And let's get back to
Thank you so much, Attila. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, well, before we move on, there's one more thing that we need to say about the app. And it's invitation codes, as Attila pointed out. To help you try it out to its full capacity, we're giving away some codes to supercharge the app. These codes are, well, as Attila showed, a bit of love to empower your node. It will mean that you can not only access the network, but you can push information into it. And you will be able to claim those codes this week. As we speak, some hamster-powered servers are crafting emails and sending them to our longtime friends and early supporters of Swarm. You know who you are. We hope that you find it interesting and fun. And for the ones who need help setting up things, Storm Foundation team will be available live for technical support on Discord, more or less for an hour after the event, to help you with installation and the setup of this desktop app. Pretty cool, right? And now the question you might have: what can I do with it? How far can I get? As you saw, the easier thing you can do is upload and download files, and you can convert those files that you hold into decentralized files, not distributed, decentralized files. But it needs more. It needs services, it needs websites, it needs dApps, it needs all sorts of digital inhabitants. Who's going to create those? Well, anyone willing to create the software of the future. Now I'm speaking to the hardcore builders. If you want to create software that will be used in every web, this is the place. And to make it easier, Fair Data Society, an initiative incepted at Swarm, has created the Fair Data Protocol, a set of specs for a most robust production environment. And to speak about all this and to give some examples of the dApps and services that can be built on top, we have Angela and Victor and Angela, to let you know more about it. Hello.
Hey.
Hey there.
Our floor is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, we are the Fair Data Protocol team. I mean, some members of it, and I prepared with some slides that I think we can bring to this screen. Thank you. So hello everyone, I'm Viktor, and I'm going to talk about Fair Data Protocol. This project started in January, and we built up a team to build layer 2 top on Swarm, addressing interoperability, data sovereignty, and privacy. It is intended to be the Web3 environment and framework for users and developers. We initially had a roadmap, as you can see already here, and we break into milestones. About the milestones, in a nutshell, reviews with protocolization is for refactoring the ideas around the FDS architecture that used only firewalls before. Then the registry specifications that mostly defines the blockchain smart contracts to keep metadata about users, dApps, and data structures. Then the authentication and authorization parts are regarding to the FDS decentralized user account handling browsers as well. And the Web3 services will come in the fifth milestone with the possibility to share or sell our private data to other users or dApps. And last but not least, additional libraries and integrations to spread our solutions on any platform, database, or application where it is possible. Next slide, please. So we have started to work on the first four milestones parallel because of our dependencies and our programmers have different skill sets. These milestones haven't finished yet, but we have some progress on each already. About that on the next slide. Here are the repositories that you can access already under the Fair Data Society GitHub. The first one is the FIPS, our improvement proposal system for which we made the workflow, how everyone can share their ideas. Please, if you have any idea about how we should build Web3, create an improvement proposal and start the discussion about that. The first library that we made is the BMTJS that you can that can build the binary marker tree of any data from which it calculates the swarm hash of any data. Additionally, it can sort out the required inclusion-proof segments of the data in 32 bytes of resolution. This can be used for cheap inclusion on-chain proofs, whether a swarm hash includes a particular byte segment. Let's say there is 8 gigabytes of data, and in which you want to prove it contains a keyword at the 128th segment. You have to upload less than 1 kilobyte of data to the blockchain. You don't even have to struggle with the on-chain verification function because we have done it in the FDP contracts repository on which you can implement your business logic around these form hashes. Also, we created an ENS for Ethereum name service for registering the usernames with Ethereum addresses, and we are working hard on registered dApps as well. You can already try it out. Our current blockchain setup by spinning up a Docker container based on the Fair Data Society blockchain image. The base library for most of our projects is the FDP storage that has all the main functionalities of FairOS client. With this, you can work with layer 2 storage operations in application layer and use FairOS features by just connecting any regular P client, like P desktop. We forked the Ethersphere's P factory and added FairOS support in order to easily start any Web3 project in a local environment. This setup also can be used in CI, by the way. Later, it is going to be upgraded and we provide a CL application to manage this environment. It will be called FDP Play. There is also a browser extension under construction called Blossom to log into your Web3 account serverless. It will serve as a framework for dApps to interact with this account and store read files from the user storage. So you don't need to ask for connection data for P anymore in dynamic dApps. And the first data structure of Fair Data Protocol is the BSAN, which is basically a JSON serialization format that will support chip-on-chain inclusion proofs for any metadata that I was talking about. We have tight cooperation with this Swarm team around this. Next slide, please. We want to release the first Blossom version that will have full support for FTP storage for dApps. Also, command line interface application development is going to start soon as well, with which you can leverage all functionalities of FTP. For layer 2 use cases, we introduce new feed types for which we have already the plan. Data structure-wise, as I mentioned, the BSAN will bring many changes in our environment that will be more effective and make place for more crypto features. The environment first will be available on testnet, really, in order to devs and users try out the new architecture. Milestone 5 will start right after we finished all of these above, with implementing the ACT library written in Book of Swarm and designing the swap, spare, and swindle contracts for layer 2 use case. During the time, we want to commit our ideas into fix and approve it by the ecosystem itself. And FDP has a cool flagship UI project called FireDrive that Angela, please. Hello, Angela.
Awesome. Yeah, so I have a few updates on my side. If we can queue up, I think, the video that I have. Perfect. So we know what your project needs to support it from our technology. We also have the operating system offering that we explain as well. And then lastly, as we make our way all the way through the site, we have applications that are using FDP in some capacity. Also on this page, you'll find links out to different sorts of videos and education material, any sort of jobs that we're hiring for, and then also bounties that we have available through FDP as well. So this site is definitely in the process of being iterated on. We did it for a hackathon, but again, the main goal is to give developers sort of that one spot where you can go find any materials related to FDP so that you can also, start to make the move from Web 2 into Web 3 and definitely focusing on a starting point for interoperability. And I know I typically talk more about FairDrive, and I just showed a site on FDP, and really the purpose of that is because FairDrive is the flagship product for FDP. It's the main application where you can manage all of your user files as a Web3 user. And an update as it relates to FairDrive, since I have you guys here, is that we're in the process of moving from FairOS to FDP within FairDrive itself. So we have 2 integration phases and are planning now on how to migrate the data from one data structure to another. And we will be using B clients overall with Swarm resources instead of just FairOS servers. So this essentially gives us more power, which is obviously a good thing in this scenario. So I believe that is it for me in terms of updates here.
Thank you, Angela. It was all from me as well.
Hello there.
Hi. May I ask you what you got for me?
I have an immutable, permissionless, integrity-safe, decentralized, privacy-first storage network for you. It is a client app called B, and it provides low-level storage operations on the Swarm network. This storage allows you to control all of your personal data. the network will be economically self-sustaining due to the incentives enforced through the smart contracts live on the Gnosis blockchain.
Do you have something more decentralized?
More decentralized? I don't know anything more decentralized than Ethereum Swarm. So basically, the big client nodes don't store even files, only chunks, and those are routed by Kademlia on request.
So here I'm in a good place if I want to store a little bit of data, right?
Of course you can, but if we are talking about some bigger data, you need some BZZ, my friend.
In my humble opinion, it sounds great. But please answer this question. Is this really the hip? Is it funky? This is what the new kid's doing right now? Is it chic? Can I be trendy if I'm using it? Your product?
Yes.
All right. Thank you both for these presentations and for that, whatever the reason was. Anyway, always bear in mind that these applications and services that are going to be on top inherit the properties of the Swarm network. The network that is designed to provide unstoppability, privacy, security, and ownership. And in order to keep these apps coming, Swarm Association fueled this year an event to support good practice and creation of services in Web3, in Web2, in Web5, in Web4, this is a good one, and in WebZ, basically. Good practices in any digital service aligned with our principles. This event was called WHAM, We Are Millions, and happened in March, a hackathon and conference that gathered some of the brilliant and more insightful talks of the digital realm. And it will continue with the second edition coming up in September. We want more of that. So make sure to follow updates on the Fair Data Society Discord. There's going to be WHAM sessions throughout the summer, and of course, visit the wearemillions.online webpage. Actually, you can play the page over there. Thank you. And that's the rebranded view of the page that we recently created. It's embarrassing to confess it, but I've spent a stupid amount of time playing with this toy that we put over there. And actually, if you notice, on the top right part, there's a button over there that says WHAM DAO. Andreas Antonopoulos said once that running a DAO is doing governance on explosives, and I cannot agree more. So this is the button that you have to click to know a little more about it. But now, let's talk about impact, about real-world TM impact, about how can software enforce freedom, and particularly freedom of information. And this is important today because it's being heavily challenged by digital censorship of all sorts. One of the best examples to illustrate this is Wikipedia. And to speak about this, we have here Constanza, who will introduce a sweet bounty to make it free. Not as in free beer, as in freedom. Constanza, bring it up.
Thank you, Antonio, for the floor. And thank you, everyone, for watching. My name is Costanza, and I will be talking about the Wikipedia Swarm Prize. But first, let me ask you a question. What do people in China, France, and Venezuela have in common? They all, at some point, had their internet censored and couldn't access Wikipedia or part of it. And the list of countries actually goes on. You can even find a Wikipedia article on Wikipedia censorship. And that is precisely why we're here today. We're here to protect freedom of expression, which is the freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. And that includes free Wikipedia, free as in free pizza, free as in free software, but most of all, free as in free human beings. So as of today, one way to defend free Wikipedia was developed by Kiwix, an amazing no-profit organization that lets you store Wikipedia offline. But what if there was a way to make Wikipedia unstoppable and censorship resistant on Swarm? The Swarm network can host an asynchronous mirror of Wikipedia so that anyone can access it and consult to the complete set of information. And to make it happen, there is a 50K DAI prize to make it reality. You will find the prize on GitHub. And there are 3 points worth mentioning. First of all, the goal is to create and maintain a mirror of English Wikipedia on Swarm. The solution has obviously to handle non-Latin alphabet characters like Spanish, Russian, Czech, Arabic, you name it. Then we would like a reusable solution with components that can be reused. This is because censorship doesn't affect Wikipedia only, unfortunately. Finally, it has to be a solution that anyone with a DevOps background can run. So yeah, you can bring home 50K DAI, become guardians of freedom of information, and sharing the cake, you might qualify for a fellowship to maintain a random project and a cool. So if the project excites you and you have more questions, you can join us on Thursday in 2 days on a live AMA on Discord. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Constanza. This was a beautiful example of how to use the power of decentralization for a noble purpose. And now, a glimpse into the future, about the upcoming months. Please allow me to introduce to stage the restless minds behind Swarm Foundation, Viktor, Tron, and Gregor Zavcer. Hello, guys. Are you around? Hey. Hello, Gregor. All right. Hello, Viktor. Good to see you there.
Hello, can you hear me well?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Hello, can you hear me well?
We can hear you, Viktor.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Viktor, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
All right, lovely. So, guys, I just would like to ask.
Can you hear me now? It should be working.
Viktor, we can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear us?
Hello, hello. 1, 2.
You cannot hear us, apparently.
1, 2, 1, 2.
We can hear you, Viktor. We can hear you. So maybe Antonio, while the tech team is sorting out, yes?
Yeah, I just would like to ask a simple question because I always have different answers for this. And that question is, how does Swarm look in 6 months to a year?
So I think, it's... I've never been more excited about the future of Swarm than today. It's been a long journey, and I would say, in a way, when we look at it, like one of the questions that I wanted to actually ask Viktor is like, which iterations of storage incentives are we working on now? And it's the 6th one, I think. And in this long way also illustrates that Swarm is basically about persistence. Also in this meta sense, and what I'm excited about is usually as humans we tend to see progress as on the linear scale, but it actually goes exponential. So it's really like for a long time it seems like things are moving slowly, and then we see the explosion. And in this sense, I believe I'm very confident in the saying that we will see a lot of bees. We will see a lot of bees around in 1 year. So and this excites me.
Yes.
It's Viktor. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm and you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So
You can.
yeah. Yes, Viktor.
Yes.
All right. So in this
Yeah, the
sense, it's
solar,
like
solar
Viktor.
network is slowly coming together.
Yes, Victor. So basically, I said that I'm feeling quite confident that there will be a lot of bees, and that we are kind of nearing this point where we will feel where we see swarm in this way growing in numbers. But and in this sense, I basically also I was wondering. I'm not sure which iteration of the storage incentives are we on now.
Yeah, I heard you. So I think you said 6. That 6 is a very conservative estimate. Actually, it's like more in the tens. It was at least 8 times when I thought it was rock solid, and someone nuked it with a potential attack. I think we can be quite open and honest about this, and it's not nothing to be ashamed of. That very hard problem that no one managed to crack so far. And it seems that we reached a very elegant solution after all, and which is gonna come soon. And basically, this is the final uh, component that will make the inner component to form this component feature complete. And also in the sense of operational sense that it's going to contain all the economic incentives that make a system like this economically self-sustaining. And the operators can expect some revenue. Whether it will be profitable, it depends on the amount of usage and the willingness to pay for the services, which is of course related to what you asked about the features. I mean, I'm a technologist, so I believe that it's ultimately not market hype, but it's going to be actual features and the products they make possible that are going to determine the success of this framework, this success. And indeed, once the basic is solid and running reliably, then all the explosion of apps and products will come because of the second layer services being completely interoperable. I'm talking about second layer services like communication, like notifications, like database services, all kinds of escrow services, etc., etc. That will basically all contribute to the scalability of decentralized computation and storage.
Awesome. So basically, okay. See, I was wrong. So 10th iteration. I guess, like I said before, persistence is really the name of our game. So we are getting there. And I guess the way how I see it in a way, uh, this version of storage incentives is essentially in a way similar challenge as as proof of stake is to Ethereum. And my understanding is now that the only question now remaining is who's going to be first, the merge, Ethereum's merge, or our upgraded storage incentives. So maybe somebody should make a
Of
prediction
course,
market on
what
it.
what
I know what I would bet on.
yeah, it's maybe not a fair comparison because what's at stake is very few cases at the moment, uh, and yeah.
Well,
So
I would say,
the,
like in terms of the time and how long we've been also working on this, and how you with our amazing team, how you cracked this. So maybe just before we return back to Antonio, to just a year ago at this time, we were launching Swarm. It was quite an intensive day, if you remember. So we were together there, also in Budapest, and maybe in this last year, besides the launch, what were maybe some of your personal highlights that you liked within Swarm that happened this year? And what would be your words towards the next summer solstice?
Yeah, I mean, launching 1.2 in mainnet was indeed the major focus one, and during time since then we managed to crack research programs, uh, including yeah, the new and more efficient feed lookup algorithm. We managed to figure out how to do data structures on Swarm properly. We figured out the storage incentives most that was the most important and major result. Of course, credit the engineering team, the network became resilient, and this is probably what I uh, cherish most because it's finally makes one usable and no longer kind of a sluggish, and it's actually uh, reliably working, and this will only improve with the storage incentives in place. So let's hope that with all the results in the research about the second layer solutions will still to be done. So this is gonna be the focus of next all the nice layer to solutions and contribute to actual real world applications that replicators surpass in features or the nice server based of the Web 2 era, like in this way.
Awesome. Antonia, back to you. And let's go onwards Swarm. So one provocative thought for both of you and for the listeners. I would say that our bee is to the digital realm what the animal bees are to the physical world. I know we don't have the time to go into it, but happy to discuss this at one of the upcoming WHAM sessions.
Oh, you're really teasing me on this one. Yes, I completely agree. Bees are needed for life, right? So yeah, we're going to see a similar thing happening in the digital realm because of this. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. That was it. To the audience, everyone listening, thank you very much for joining. This has been the event. I hope that now you see where Swarm is standing and how bright the digital future looks like. Everybody's welcome to join the team on Discord for some after party chat. Onwards.